Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Mr. Outlaw, and today we're going to review the Evic VTC Mini from joyetech. This is a 75-watt temperature-controlled device. It utilizes nickel, titanium, canthal. It has a bypass mode, runs on a single 18650 battery, and the best part is, it's firmware upgradable. So let's get into it. So the Evic VTC Mini, this is a nice small compact mod. I am really enjoying this mod. joyetech did a great job at redesigning their original Evic VT. That's this one right here. And you can see the difference right off the bat. They're both about the same height, but this one is much more compact, much smaller. Look at the difference in the width of this device. 60-watt device. This is now a 75-watt device. That's right. If you go ahead and research and to purchase this online, you're going to find that all of the websites list it as a 60-watt device. But as I said in the intro portion of this video, one of the things that joyetech added to the Evic VTC is the fact that it is now firmware upgradable, and they just released a firmware upgrade that brought this from a 60-watt up to a 75-watt device. Now, I did receive this from a company out in California called Wake and Vape. I'll leave a link down in the description. It's wakeandvape.com, and they are currently selling the full kit, which includes the device as well as the Ego 1 atomizer, and they are selling it for $46. Now, I've also done some research, and I found some other companies online that are selling just the battery and mod portion, and they're selling that for about the same price of $45. So I think the best price that I found for a US seller is Wake and Vape at $46. And I'm really enjoying this device, I have to tell you. Now, I'm currently rocking my Steam Crave RDTA aromamizer on here. I have it set at 31.7 watts. It's a 0.21 coil on here. Let's go ahead and take a vape. Nice, smooth, powerful. Really enjoying this mod. Now, I will have a review coming up on this aromamizer RDTA. I have to tell you, it has become probably my favorite or second favorite tank that I own. The only other tank that I'm really using now is the TFV4, but I am really enjoying this. If you are a dripper, but you really want the tank type of feel where you don't have to constantly drip, you need to check these out. Like I said, I have a review video coming up on it. I'm going to take another vape. We're going to go over some of the specs. Okay, so let's go over some of the quick specs on this device, and then we'll get into the up close and personal. Like I said, it's built by joyetech. It requires a single 18650 battery. It has a magnetic battery door right here on the back. Snaps on, doesn't rattle, works well. It comes standard as a 60-watt device, but like I said, you plug it into your computer, and they do have an upgrade program for Mac users, and you can instantly turn it into a 75-watt device. It has a large OLED screen on the front, operating voltage from 0.5 volts up to 8 volts. It has a mini USB charger down here on the bottom. You can charge your battery with this USB port, and it's also firmware upgradable. If you buy the full kit, it comes with the Ego 1 VT tank, which is a 4 milliliter juice capacity. We'll show you that in the up close and personal. And they come a couple different ways. They either come with a nickel coil and a titanium coil, or they come with two nickel coils. Depends on the retailer that you're purchasing it from. If you're operating this in temperature control and it utilizes both nickel and titanium, it reads resistance down to 0.05 ohms. And if you're operating it in variable wattage mode and using either stainless steel or canthal, it will read it down to 0.15 ohms. Temperature range of 200 degrees to 600 degrees. And like I said, it does work on titanium coils. You can use the Ego 1, or you can use any other atomizer or, tank or RDTA or, dripper, whatever you want. They all work great on this device. So like I said, temperature control device. Before we get into the up close and personal, couple little things about this device that you may notice in upgrades and changes from this. First of all, they got rid of this little flip switch on the top, which I kind of liked, but sometimes was annoying. They made it buttons down here. In addition, they added another feature to this over the Evic VT, and that is it is now have a bypass mode. That's right, it has a bypass mode on it. So for all those of you who don't want to have to work with a regulated mod, you can put this thing into bypass mode and go ahead and vape away. So let's take a vape right here, then we'll go ahead, dive down, do the up close and personal, then we'll come back to FaceTime and do all the pros and cons. Okay, so this is the box that the Evic VTC Mini comes in. You can see a picture of the device down the bottom. Variable temperature with changeable battery. We have the joyetech logo on one side. On the other side it says Evic VTC Mini. Firmware upgradable with the color options black, white, or cayenne. Down on the bottom is their website. And on the back is some information about the device. Standard configuration. This comes with a 1 amp wall charger. And it comes with the cayenne NI 0.2 ohm coil and an NI 0.25 ohm coil. As I said, this is the full kit. I open it up here. We have our warranty card. On the back is our authentication sticker. We have our device right here. Okay, we'll look in that in a little bit. Getting down to the bottom of the box, we have an instruction manual, USB cord used for both charging and upgrading, a 1 amp wall adapter, an extra coil, and our Ego 1 atomizer. Now again, you can buy this kit either with or without this atomizer. I choose not to use it. I prefer my dual coils, but it is a pretty good atomizer, especially if you're a new vapor. And all you're going to do is simply unscrew the top. You can change out your coil, and you fill it up right there. Down on the bottom here, we do have our airflow that's adjustable. And then all you do is just turn it like that to adjust our airflow. Putting this off to the side, we'll get into the unit itself. Now, taking a look at the unit here, let's do some comparison with the original one first. You can see they are both about the same height, but obviously the Mini is much smaller. Now this device does have a built-in 5,000 milliamp battery. This utilizes a single 18650 battery, and it's also a little bit smaller in diameter. You can see there the difference in the diameter. This one kind of bulges out to fill that battery. A couple of other features that they've changed. They've moved the USB slot from the top of the device right here underneath where you screw your atomizer down here to the bottom. I like that feature. And they've also gotten rid of this little spring-loaded thing, which I actually liked this originally, but now it kind of gets stuck sometimes, so I'm not a big fan of it. And they've gone to buttons down here on the bottom. Now coming on to the rest of the features, we have a spring-loaded 510 pin up here, some slots for airflow if you have an atomizer that gets the airflow from the bottom, a very large OLED screen, our fire button, nice and clicky fire button, doesn't rattle. One thing I had about this, some of them rattled, up and down buttons here, and other than that, the unit is pretty plain, no branding or anything, which I like that as well. Onto the back here, we have a magnetic battery door. There's a little spot here you can stick your fingernail in there to pull it off. And this battery door holds on there very well. The magnets are very powerful. You can see here, if I even start to bring it, it starts to just pull it down. So it holds on, doesn't rattle, isn't going to come off very easily. Pulling that off here, you can see positive up, negative down. Your button right here for your positive is a good spring. It's not nice and it's not loose, nice and tight. Put that in there. So moving on to the front here, 5 clicks turns it off, 5 clicks turns it on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now to get into our menu system, it's 3 clicks, just like the original Evic VT. You're gonna 1, 2, 3. You're gonna see the top flashes. To move through each section, we're gonna hit the down button, which is the button over here on the left. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now if you're in power mode, the only thing you can change is whether you want to go into power, bypass mode, temperature with nickel, or temperature with titanium. Those are the only options when you're in power mode. So if we go down on the bottom, you can change it to your current, puffs, time, and battery. Now going back up to the top, and it just keeps round robining, we can go over to, we'll go into, here's your bypass mode, and then we have our nickel mode and our titanium mode. And go down to the next thing. We're going to set our power, and it goes from 1 watt to 75 watts, so we can go all the way up. It does have an accelerator, and it runs in 0.1 increments, and it goes all the way up to 75 watts. And then if you press one more time, it goes to 1 watt. Now, one improvement they do have with this over the original Evic is the original Evic started at 30 watts in temperature mode, and now they've allowed that to go all the way down to 1. Now, what that does is this, if you're setting your wattage in temperature mode, it's going to limit how hot you can bring it or how many watts you can put it. So if we put it at, say, I'm going to go to 32 watts or 33.5 watts, it won't go over 33.5 watts. Now, if we hit the button again, you have our atomizer, and if you have an atomizer on here, you can lock the resistance in there. So we'll take this out. We'll go ahead and put an atomizer on here. I will put my Goliath. I believe I have a titanium coil in here. We'll go ahead and put this on, and when you first turn the device on, sometimes it's going to ask you, is it a new coil or it's an old coil? We'll go ahead and press it, and it's not asking me because it didn't have a coil on here before. Now, if you want to get it to ask you if you have a new coil, let's say you want to trick it into having a higher atomizer or something like that, go ahead and hit the fire button a couple times so it reads up and you heated up your coil a little bit. Go ahead, take off your atomizer, press your fire button a couple times, and then put it back on, and it should now ask me, is this a new coil? New coil right, same coil left. We're going to say it's the same coil. Okay, and now once you have that coil on there, you can go back into the menu, 3 clicks, go down to atomizer, and we can lock in our resistance. So that's the menu, very, very simple. Couple things that I would want to mention about the menu system. First of all, you can't go backwards. So, for example, if we go back into the menu and we go down to power, okay, if I'm at 33.5 watts, if I want to go to, say, 20 watts, I have to go all the way up to 75 watts. There's no backward. If you hit the down button, it's going to bring it to the next section of the menu. So that is definitely a con in my mind. I wish there was a way that we can go up and down. So we're going to take that back up to 35 watts. But there is no way that you can go backwards. You can only go one way. And going from 1 to 75 watts, it always goes in 0.1 increments, so it can take a little bit of time. So that's definitely a con. Something else I want to point out, the Goliath here is a pretty narrow atomizer on the top, on the bottom there. So you can see it looks pretty good there. There's no overhang, but this is such a small device that pretty much all of my atomizers have a slight overhang on here, and you can see it's because of where the 510 pin is. I'll go ahead, and this is my crown tank, and you can see just ever so slightly there's an overhang there. Not a big deal, just a cosmetic thing, but it's definitely something to mention. I mean, all of my different tanks, RBAs, RDAs, they all have made a good connection. They sit flush. But you do have that slight overhang. Even if we pull out the Eagle 1, the one that it comes with, you're going to see there is that slight overhang there, right there on the front because of where it's positioned, and even over here on the sides. So that is a subjective con, but something that I definitely have to mention, that we do have that issue there. We're going to go ahead and put our Goliath back on. And let's move on, and I will show you how to upgrade the firmware real quick, and then we will go on to the pros and cons of the device. Okay, so in order to upgrade our firmware, the first thing we're going to do is go to joyetech's website, and I will leave a link for this down in the description. We're going to go right here. It says upgrade firmware. Click on that, and right here we're going to have our upgrade page, and you can see up here that is the website address, and again I'll leave a link in the description. Over here, the current firmware, we have VT software, firmware version 1.20. These are the older ones. The last post date is October 15th. This is the file size, and it is available for both Windows and Mac. Also tells you here how to upgrade it. So you just click on the one that you're going to need. Go ahead and download it. And I actually have a Mac, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up, and then we will show you how to actually upgrade it. So once you have your program open, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to take your USB cord, plug it into the front of the device, and it's immediately going to say device name Evic VTC Mini. This is the firmware version that I have, hardware version 1.04. Now when I hit the update button, it's going to bring up a set of folders. And this is the actual folders where your software is. We're going to go over here and we're going to open up the hex folder, and these are the 3 different firmwares that I have available to me. And we're going to choose the Evic VTC version 1.2. I've already upgraded, but we're just going to do it again. Hit the open button, and it's going to say firmware update completed. Hit the OK button, and now we hit exit and we're all done. So let's take this up to FaceTime and we will go over all the pros and cons. Okay, so that's the up close and personal and how to upgrade your firmware for the Evic VTC Mini. And you can see it's very simple to upgrade your firmware. It's a great feature. I love the fact that they've added that in there. Nice, small, compact device, especially if you want to go, out and about, have something that you can kind of fit into your pocket without anybody seeing. It's not super heavy. Let's take a vape here. We'll go into the pros and cons. I have my Goliath 2 tank on here. I have a single coil option in here. The airflow is all the way open, set on 430 degrees. It's a titanium coil. It's a 0.16 ohm coil, and I have it vaping at 35 watts. I will say I get a very smooth vape with this, but I definitely have a few cons for this device. Some of them are subjective, and some of them aren't so subjective. We'll start off with the big ones. First of all, when it comes to temperature control on this, there's no ramp up. So if you've seen some of my other videos or some of the other devices that are out on the market, like the SX Mini or the X Cube 2 or the DNA 200, you can set a ramp up where it's going to allow you to have a higher wattage for just 1 or 2 seconds ahead of time and then come down to the wattage that you set it at. Well, this device doesn't have that. So if I set it at, say, 35 watts, like I have my Goliath set at right now, it's not going to ramp up and start at a higher wattage and then come down to 35 watts. It's going to start at the 35 watts and come down. What that means is you get a little bit slower vape time. You don't get that instant heat when it comes to temperature control. You're not going to get that same vape from the very first part of your vape until the last part. So if I take a vape here again, it takes a little bit longer to get up to the temperature that I want it at. So, excuse me, if that was like, say, for example, my SX Mini, it would have been a much shorter vape because I've got it set on the powerful mode where it's going to increase it by 15% for 1 second or 2 seconds and then come down to the 35 watts or 35 joules or whatever I have it set at. So that's definitely a con for me. Another con I have with this device, and I have it with a lot of devices that have temperature control on it, is I have had times where it has jumped from temperature control mode into wattage mode. And as I said in my video on the X Cube 2, what causes that is a bad connection with your atomizer. Either your atomizer isn't screwed down all the way, or the coil head isn't screwed down all the way, or you don't have a good connection on your lead. So that's something you need to make sure of. If you have that happen, just check those connections and you shouldn't have it happen anymore. But it's just, once again, I have to reiterate, I really wish that these companies would put a thing in there so that if I put it into temperature control mode, there is absolutely no way that it can bounce out of temperature control mode. Don't fire at all, but don't bounce out of temperature control mode. So that is definitely a con for me. The next con that I'm going to have on this device, and it's a subjective con, is the paint job. It is a heavy-duty paint job. I do like it. I have abused this device. I've dropped it on concrete twice, and I do have a little chip right here. You can see that if I can get it to focus. Let's see if I can get that to focus there for you. You can see that little chip there, and I have another one up here on the top. You can see right there. It's a pretty thick paint job. Come back to my other focus. It's a pretty thick paint job, but I'm not a big fan of the matte. I like the glossy finish better. So if we look back at the old Evic, I like this glossy finish. Now this thing was my out and about device for a long time, and I've abused this thing. I've had this thing for about 6 months. I've dropped it, thrown it around, had my keys with it, coins with it, and there's no scratches on this paint job. This glossy finish that they put on here is extremely durable, and I wish they would have left that on here, but that's a subjective con. Some people absolutely hated this glossy finish, so some people are going to love this matte finish. It's smooth, it feels good to the touch. I just really like the glossy finish, but again, that's a subjective con. The other con that I'm going to have that's subjective is the fact that the device is so small that all of the atomizers, or pretty much all of the atomizers that I have a slight overhang. Like I said, the Goliath slims down here on the bottom, so we don't have that issue there. But even the Ego 1, the one that this comes with, it overhangs just a slight bit. So that's definitely a con in my mind. But pretty much those are all the cons I have for this device. If you're looking for a device that is not very expensive, that can give you some decent power, you know, up to 75 watts, this is a great device to take a look at. Let's take a vape here. We'll go into all the pros. Okay, so first pro, the size. I love the size of this device. It's nice and sleek. It's easy to kind of stick in your pocket. It's not a big heavy mod. It doesn't weigh a lot. It fits good in your hand. I like the fire button. I like the fact that they've moved the buttons down here. I like the fact that they've added the USB port down on the bottom instead of right up here under my atomizer. So definitely just the whole design of the unit itself, I absolutely love. Another pro is going to be the fact that it's now got a changeable battery. You know, they went from the built-in battery. Yes, the other one had a 5,000 milliamp battery, but the problem is that now you all of a sudden, if it goes dead, you have to kind of go put it, charge it, wait for it to charge. Now it's a simple of switch out your batteries. I really like having the removable battery, so it's a great feature they've added onto this. Definitely give them some credit for that. Another pro I'm going to have for this device is the fact that it's upgradable firmware. As I've said in some of my other videos, I've made the decision that I will no longer purchase any devices that don't have user upgradable firmware. There have been too many instances, including with this one right here, where I got it, and then all of a sudden they found a glitch in the system or a glitch on the software, and I'm stuck with it. There's no way to fix that glitch. I don't even care if these companies give you a user upgradable firmware and have no intentions on adding extra features. Like, you know, if they never add having adjustable TCR values on this device, I'm fine with that. For $46, who cares? But I do want user upgradable firmware to be able to fix glitches that they find. You know, if they find an instance where it's jumping out of power mode and they've out of temperature mode and they figured out a way to fix that, I want them to be able to add that. If they find that the TCR values that they're using for, say, titanium are wrong and they want to fix that, I like the fact that I can plug it in. I don't have to go buy a new device. I'm not stuck with version 1 where somebody who bought it, say, 3 weeks after that I did, has now a newer version that works well. So user upgradable firmware is a big pro in my mind. Another pro I'm going to have is the finish on this. Though I said it is a con, that I really would have liked to have the glossy finish. The finish is very durable. It's not much of a fingerprint magnet. Like I said, I banged it around, dropping it on concrete. You would expect to get some chips on there, but I don't have any scratches on here. It's a very durable paint job. It doesn't peel off, anything like that. And my last pro on this is going to be the price. I mean, $45, $46 for an all-in-one device is just perfect, especially for new vapors. You know, now I have seen some retailers selling it for $65, and even there, I think that's a good price point for a 75-watt temperature-controlled mod that has upgradable firmware. I don't think you can ask for more. But if you're a new vapor, if you're not somebody like the rest of us where we have tons of RBAs and tanks and RDAs and everything else you can think of, and you just need something and you don't want to spend a ton of money, this is a great device to take a look at. You get, you know, the mod, 75 watts, the new technology, temperature control, upgradable firmware, an atomizer, and 2 heads. The only thing you need is batteries. You can't beat it for $46. So all in all, I think this is a great mod, especially for the price, especially for the size. So that is my video for today. Hopefully I've helped you out. Hopefully I've helped you make a decision. If this is a mod that you are interested in getting, please do me a favor. Hit the like button down on the bottom. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And until next time, Happy vaping.